The White House press briefing room was abuzz with anticipation. Journalists from every major network had gathered, their pens poised, their cameras ready. Something big was about to drop, and the person at the center of it all was Karoline Leavitt, the fiery and relentless White House press secretary serving under President Donald Trump. For weeks, rumors had swirled through Washington's corridors of power, whispers of backroom deals, legal manipulations, and a secret operation involving Judge James Boasberg, the powerful chief judge of the United States District Court for the District of Columbia. Boasberg, known for his controversial rulings and deep ties to the establishment, had always been a shadowy figure. But today, Karoline was about to bring him into the light. As she stepped onto the podium, her piercing gaze swept across the room. The murmurs died down. The world was watching. "Good afternoon," she began, her voice steady but charged with an underlying tension. "Before we take questions, I have an announcement to make, one that will change the course of this nation's legal history." A heavy silence filled the room. She continued, "In recent weeks, we have uncovered a highly classified set of documents that reveal a series of secretive legal maneuvers orchestrated by Judge James Boasberg. These documents indicate that Boasberg has been colluding with senior intelligence officials and political operatives to manipulate the judiciary in ways that are not only unconstitutional but criminal." Gasps rippled through the audience. Several reporters exchanged stunned glances. Others frantically typed, breaking the news in real time. Karoline took a breath, her next words deliberate. "We are talking about obstruction of justice, evidence tampering, and politically motivated judicial decisions. We now have irrefutable proof that Judge Boasberg has worked behind the scenes to shield certain individuals from prosecution while ensuring others were targeted under false pretenses. He weaponized his judicial authority for political gain." The weight of her words settled over the room like a storm cloud. A CNN reporter shot up his hand. "Ms. Leavitt, can you clarify, are you saying that Judge Boasberg knowingly interfered in ongoing investigations?" Karoline met his gaze without hesitation. "Yes. And the evidence speaks for itself." A flurry of questions followed, but she raised a hand to silence them. "I understand the urgency of this matter, and I assure you that the Trump administration is taking swift action. The Department of Justice, under direct orders from the President, has launched a full-scale criminal investigation into Judge Boasberg's activities. We are working closely with independent prosecutors to ensure that justice is served." Another murmur spread through the room. The DOJ investigating a sitting chief judge? This was unprecedented. A Fox News reporter leaned forward. "Ms. Leavitt, can you provide specifics about these allegations? What exactly has Boasberg done?" Karoline's expression darkened. "That's precisely what I'm about to reveal." She reached for a folder on the podium and opened it. A stack of declassified documents sat inside. Slowly, she lifted the top sheet and held it up for the cameras. This is an internal memo from March 2024 showing direct communication between Judge Boasberg and a senior FBI official. In it, he discusses suppressing evidence in a case related to high-level corruption within the intelligence community. The room erupted. Reporters scrambled to take notes, their voices overlapping. "And this," Karoline continued, holding up another document, "is an email exchange between Judge Boasberg and a DC-based law firm with deep ties to prominent Democratic operatives. It explicitly outlines a plan to ensure certain legal cases never see the light of day." She let the words sink in. Judge Boasberg has abused his power to protect the guilty and punish the innocent. And now he's going to pay for it. The tension in the room was electric. Washington had just been rocked by an explosive revelation, and the fallout was only beginning. The news of Karoline Leavitt's bombshell revelation sent shockwaves across the nation. Within minutes, every major news outlet ran breaking headlines. White House press secretary accuses Judge Boasberg of criminal activity. Trump administration calls for investigation into high-level judicial corruption. Social media exploded with reactions. Conservatives hailed Karoline as a whistleblower for justice, while progressives accused the White House of launching a politically motivated attack. Legal analysts scrambled to assess the situation. Was this a constitutional crisis in the making? Boasberg responds, but it's too late. That evening, Judge James Boasberg himself finally broke his silence. Appearing in a hastily arranged interview on MSNBC, he dismissed the allegations as a baseless political stunt orchestrated by the Trump administration. "These accusations are not only absurd but dangerous," he stated, his voice laced with defiance. "This is nothing more than an attack on judicial independence." But even as he spoke, something unexpected happened. Minutes after Boasberg's interview began, Karoline Leavitt released a new set of classified documents, this time directly to the public. The documents, now trending worldwide, included small blue diamond wiretap transcripts linking Boasberg to a secret meeting with intelligence officials, small blue diamond bank records showing suspicious financial transactions between his office and political operatives, small blue diamond sworn testimonies from former legal aides who had worked under him. The evidence was overwhelming. By the time Boasberg finished his interview, his claims of innocence had already fallen apart. Trump takes action. As dawn broke over Washington, President Donald Trump made his move. Addressing the nation from the Oval Office, his tone was uncompromising. What we are witnessing, he declared, is the biggest judicial scandal in American history. Judge Boasberg has betrayed the American people, and we will hold him accountable. The next words shook the country. Effective immediately, I am ordering the Department of Justice to file criminal charges against Judge James Boasberg. No one, not even a federal judge, is above the law. For the first time in modern history, a sitting chief judge was being indicted. The deep state, as Trump often called it, was finally on the defensive. As President Trump's statement reverberated across the country, Washington, D.C. became a powder keg. Legal scholars debated the constitutional implications of a sitting federal judge facing criminal prosecution. Could he be removed from the bench before conviction? Would the Supreme Court intervene? But before those questions could be answered, federal agents acted swiftly. The arrest that shook America. In the early hours of the morning, FBI agents arrived at Boasberg's residence in Georgetown. The neighborhood, usually quiet, was now flooded with journalists, photographers, and protesters. Boasberg was seen exiting his home in a crisp suit, his face a mask of defiance. As he was placed into the back of a black SUV, news helicopters circled above. Federal judge arrested on corruption charges. The DOJ's charges were severe: obstruction of justice, conspiracy to commit fraud, misuse of classified information, bribery and financial corruption. Legal experts predicted that if convicted, Boasberg could face up to 25 years in federal prison. Meanwhile, Karoline Leavitt was hailed as the whistleblower who brought down a titan. Conservative media dubbed her the woman who saved the courts, while liberal outlets scrambled to damage control the narrative. But what no one knew was that this was just the beginning. A deep state cover-up unraveling. As the FBI raided Boasberg's office, they uncovered something far worse than expected. Classified documents linking multiple judges to secret political deals. Emails proving illegal collusion between intelligence officials and judicial officers. A list of influential figures involved in covering up political crimes. Boasberg was just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. And now Karoline Leavitt had the power to expose it all. As federal agents combed through Judge Boasberg's seized files, it became clear that the corruption ran far deeper than anyone had imagined. The documents revealed the existence of a covert judicial political alliance spanning multiple administrations and agencies designed to manipulate high-profile cases. Boasberg wasn't acting alone. The files exposed a secret committee of judges, intelligence officers, and political elites, all working together to suppress damaging investigations and protect key figures in Washington's power circles. Karoline Leavitt, now at the center of the unfolding scandal, stood on the steps of the White House, preparing to deliver her most explosive statement yet. The press conference that changed everything. A sea of reporters filled the White House lawn, cameras rolling as Karoline stepped up to the podium. "Today we are making history," she declared. For too long, a shadow government has operated behind closed doors, bypassing the will of the American people. But now their time is up. She held up a red folder, its contents classified just days earlier. This document contains evidence of a multi-agency operation designed to manipulate federal court rulings, suppress political dissent, and protect corrupt officials from prosecution. Gasps rippled through the crowd. These individuals, judges, bureaucrats, and intelligence operatives have actively worked against the Constitution, rigging the system for their own gain. And now the American people deserve justice. The room erupted into a flurry of questions. A New York Times reporter called out, "Ms. Leavitt, are you saying there's a criminal network embedded within the judiciary and intelligence community?" Karoline's response was chilling. Yes. And Judge Boasberg was just the beginning. Trump orders nationwide investigations. In response to the revelations, President Trump signed an executive order authorizing a full-scale federal investigation into judicial and intelligence corruption. Attorney General Kash Patel was placed in charge of the effort, with dozens of high-ranking officials now under scrutiny. Multiple federal judges and government officials facing investigation for corruption. For the first time in American history, the deep state was on the defensive. But as federal prosecutors prepared charges against the newly uncovered conspirators, an urgent message arrived at the White House. A key witness had just been found dead. The breaking news of the mysterious death of a key witness sent shockwaves through Washington. Police car light breaking. High-profile witness in Boasberg case found dead in D.C. apartment. Police car light. The witness, former intelligence analyst Eric Stanton, had been scheduled to testify before Congress about secret meetings between federal judges and intelligence officials. But now he was gone, found in his apartment with what authorities quickly labeled an apparent suicide. But Karoline Leavitt and the Trump administration weren't buying it. "We have every reason to believe this was an assassination," Karoline declared at a late-night press briefing. "This is a desperate attempt by the corrupt deep state to silence the truth. But I promise you this, we will not stop." Boasberg breaks under pressure. Inside a high-security detention facility, Judge Boasberg was cracking under the weight of the investigation. Faced with mounting evidence and the threat of a lifetime in prison, he requested a deal. Boasberg agreed to testify against his former allies in exchange for a reduced sentence. His confession was a bombshell. Under oath, he detailed a secret network of compromised judges influencing federal cases, direct orders from intelligence officials to suppress politically damaging investigations, massive financial kickbacks disguised as consulting fees funneling into judicial accounts. His testimony rocked the foundations of the Washington elite, mass arrests, and the collapse of the deep state. Armed with Boasberg's testimony, federal agents launched nationwide raids, arresting multiple sitting judges, former intelligence operatives, and top political figures. CNN headline: U.S. government officials arrested in unprecedented crackdown. The deep state's grip on Washington was shattered. President Trump, standing in the Oval Office, addressed the nation. "Today, we took one giant step toward restoring justice in America. The people who thought they were untouchable are now facing the full force of the law." Karoline Leavitt, the woman who brought down the corrupt empire. As the dust settled, Karoline Leavitt became a national hero. Some even speculated about a future political career. When asked if she had any regrets about taking on the most powerful people in Washington, she simply smiled. "I only regret that we didn't expose them sooner."